Hello guys, it's Ben here from Next Gen Base, and we have been taking a quick look over the differences between the PS4 Pro and the base PS4 when it comes to Kojima Productions' latest title, Death Stranding. Now this is one that I know a lot of people are intrigued by, a lot of people want to get, but they're not sure whether it's going to run well on the base PS4. So, starting off with the PS4 Pro, this is the prologue area. And we can see everything looks nice and sharp. All the textures look absolutely brilliant, and there's a lot of sort of foliage going on the ground. Moving over to the PS4 base model, much the same. To be honest, a lot of it looks very similar. You're only really going to notice a slightly softer image quality, which indicates that the game is running at a lower resolution. But overall, the game on the PS4 Pro and the standard PS4, they run really well. Both consoles are handling everything really nicely. We'll move over to the PS4 Pro here, where we're just going into the first cutscene area. Basically, this is going to trigger the cutscene in just a second. And what I'm going to do is put the cutscenes side by side. So, coming up, we're going to have the base PS4 on the left-hand side and the PS4 Pro on the right-hand side. So, here we go. The important thing to notice here is that the cutscenes all run in-engine, much like with Metal Gear Solid 5 and previous games like that. But here you can see there's not a huge amount of difference once again. It's not like there's tons of stuff that's being missed off the base PS4 or that it's running poorly. And you can see here it definitely is running in-engine because I picked up an extra package there that wasn't on the base PS4 on the PS4 Pro. So once again, here is an area that I did notice a little bit of a difference. You can see there's a slightly higher texture quality on the PS4 Pro as the camera pans up Sam's arm. The hairs on his arm stand up a little bit. They're a little bit easier to notice on the PS4 Pro, so again, that's an indication to me that it's running at a slightly lower base resolution. Moving on to this section here now, where we're moving down the side of this mountain. And we can see that the water looks really, really nice on the PS4 Pro. There's a lot of sort of the fog and mist transparency effects there. Once again, they're looking really good. And unfortunately, I can't give you a full pixel count as to which is 1080p and what resolution the base PS4 is running at. Unfortunately, I don't have that capability. I'm not Digital Foundry, unfortunately. Although I'm sure they will have some excellent coverage on this as well. But the important thing to note really is just how closely it sticks to that target frame rate. So once again, going back to the base PS4, the immediate thing to notice is on the ground that it does look a little bit flatter, and I think that's due to having a lot of the sort of pop-up shrubbery and foliage, that kind of stuff, being taken out just to keep the performance up. But overall, you can see the transparency is there, the mist is there, the water's still there, the water's still flowing, it's still transparent, it still looks really nice. Okay, once again, we're going back to the PS4 Pro here. You can see Sam is carrying somebody, I'm not going to tell you who, through this area here. Now, the reason I chose this is because the camera pulls back and it allows you to see the entire area that you're in. It's quite an impressive feat, really, for what it does, and you can just see how much detail is in the world. Now, the PS4 Pro, once again, is running at what I presume to be a locked 1080p 30, with no real drops or dips in frame rate or resolution that I could make out. Scanning the world, again, it looks the same on more or less the two consoles, wherever you play them. So, at this present time, when I was playing it on the base PS4, I was going through some stuff and I was thinking, if you're going to get this on the base PS4, it's not really going to let you down. I know there's a lot of people there that are concerned about how the game's going to run on the base PS4, considering there's been some, shall we say, issues with certain titles recently where it's not run particularly well on the base model. But going back to it here, this is the base PS4 running now. You can see once again that the ground textures just look that little bit flatter. They've not... Kojima Productions hasn't sort of boosted the environment that much, but it still looks really nice. So once again, you can see the camera pulling back here. You're able to see all across the world that you're walking across. The water again looks really lovely, and again the key thing to remember is that this is running once again at that 30 frames a second. It doesn't drop while you're playing on foot. Okay, next up we have a mission from episode 3, I do believe, in the game. This is kind of going into a town and retrieving some stuff for a junk dealer. Now, on the PS4 Pro, you can make out everything in the rubble. You can see that it's a ruined city, and you've got the timefall, or the rain, as it probably looks, which kind of implies that there's a BT infestation fairly nearby. So, the main thing that we've got to remember here is, again, it's running at 1080p, it's running 30 frames a second, and there's no real drops. It looks really, really nice. The game looks stunning on both consoles, if I'm brutally honest. So, going back to the PS4 here, and we can see once again, if you'll pardon me from getting stuck on the geometry, it's looking nice. You know, there's not a huge amount of difference in the texture quality, there's not a huge amount of difference in the effects in the game. The only main thing is that image quality, once again, is a little bit softer than it was on the PS4 Pro. At a guess, I'd probably say it's probably running at 900p on the base console and 1080p on the Pro, but once again, I can't give you that information, unfortunately, for a fact, because I don't have that capability. Okay, and just once again, we're going to go over some landscapes in the area now. You can see here, this is on the PS4 Pro. It's running again full 1080p, full 30 frames a second, and the environments look really nice. The rocks look really sharp. The textures on there look really good. The reflections are nice. The reflections look as realistic as they can be without kind of going down the PC route of things. But overall, yeah, the game is performing as it did for the entirety while playing it on the PS4 Pro. Okay, moving back to the base PS4, this is kind of pretty much the same area as much as I could get, and again, everything looks fine. The only difference, once again, is the ground textures do look that little tiny bit flatter, and it looks a little bit softer than the PS4 Pro. So overall, if somebody said to me, would it be worth me getting this game on the base PS4, given my time with it, I would say yes. There's no major technical hiccups, there's no real instances where I think there's a huge performance drop. The only area that does struggle slightly is coming up in just a second, which is kind of the area with vehicles. So you can jump on some vehicles, and this is the base PS4 here, kind of exploring through a freeway that's been rebuilt, and you can see that the frame rate starts to dip a little bit as the speed picks up, and as you go round a corner it just starts to chug a little tiny bit as you're going through it. In the later game, this can be one of the things that you're doing quite often, is going down these highways, but the performance does drop a little bit here. This is the only area that I noticed during my time with the game on the base PS4. Moving up to the PS4 Pro, the camera angle's a little bit different here because I've got quite a lot more cargo on my back, but again, the frame rate holds up really nicely at 30 frames a second here, going all the way through to the same areas that we did on the base PS4. The only thing that I will say is with the vehicles, when you get to the later game and there's a hell of a lot of like user-created stuff across the world and you're going at a full pelt on multiple different vehicles, the only thing I would say there is that that's when I started to notice a tiny bit of chugging on the Pro, but even then it was only for a few seconds and then it kind of rectified itself quite quickly. So my guess is that performance is kind of rooted in the amount of stuff that's going on within the game that users have created. So just jumping back to another PS4 Pro early cutscene here, just to say really that if you're dabbling and thinking, oh, do I get it on my base PS4, will it make it sound like a plane taking off? I didn't notice it too much during my time with the PS4 Pro, or indeed the standard PS4. It all seemed fairly standard, like didn't make too much noise, it didn't overheat or anything like that. I didn't have to open my windows to kind of prevent the machine from blowing up. So yeah, I would wholeheartedly recommend picking this up on the base PS4 as well, because it does look really cool and it's a really good game. Thank you for joining us, guys. Do check out our review for Death Stranding on YouTube and on the website. Drop us a like, leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.